talking points that I could say to someone about the difference between all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, and why every Black Life Matter should be kind of my response?
That's great question. So I think we dealt with all lives matter as long as we listen to that, not from a position of this person is trying to say exclusively Black lives, Black power, Black life. What for the most part, when they
Did we lose Kevin for a second?
Neil, you want to pick that up for a moment until he comes back? Okay.
Yeah, until Kevin comes back. So basically, the issue is, do all lives matter seems to take away, does the fact that we say all lives matter take away from the fact that Black lives are in a certain plight right now? And so we understand the sentiment that when you say all lives matter, are you sort of diffusing the situation? Are you ignoring the real issues that are affecting the Black community? Yes, that's true. But the problem is when people say all lives matter, usually they're saying that as a reaction to what BLM has been pushing. And what BLM has been pushing is the opposite of what we want. We want racial reconciliation. We don't want one race to be isolated as better than the other race. But at the same time, we understand that the African American community has been affected disproportionately. And the reason they've been affected disproportionately, as we mentioned, is because of the fatherless problem, is because of the gang warfare, because of all this, but basically because of the policies that have been implemented by the left, all these Marxist policies, all these, if you will, racist policies. And here's the difficulty that you run into. It's very difficult. And I ask people, they say, well, they'll say, well, you know, this party is more racist because they don't want to provide free things to the African American. I'm saying, so your basis for deciding if a party is racist is that they're not giving free things to other people. Well, are they racist against Asians? They're not giving free things to Asians. Are they racist against, I don't know, pick a minority that isn't getting free handouts, isn't getting special attention? Are they racist against them? No, the party that we're talking about that doesn't want to give free things wants you to be self-sufficient. They want you to be doing things on your own. They think that you're capable of far greater things than being at the mercy of some government agency, right? So that's not the racist party. So, but coming back to the issue, do all lives matter? Yes, they do. At this point, we do want to focus on the plight of African Americans, and we want to fix that because all lives do matter. And when the African American issue is solved by getting rid of the Marxist policies, Marxist doctrines, then all lives will matter more, if you will, if you can say it that way. Now, what Kevin was getting at too was the issue of how are we going to solve this? How are we going to resolve this, if you will, this racial reconciliation? And I don't want to speak to Kevin. I think he was going off on a different track. So when you're back on, I'll let you address that. But let me address how do we solve this? Well, first of all, we don't solve this by telling white people that they're racist. I mean, first of all, we all have a reflex action. Somebody tells you that you're a racist, and you've never had a racist thought in your mind. And they're saying, well, the very fact that you think that you're not a racist makes you a racist. Well, this is not helping anything. This does not help anyone. And I've been in this country 40 years. I came to this country, and I can tell you there's far more racism in the countries that I came from. I lived in the Middle East. There's a lot of racism there. I lived in India for a brief period of time. There's an awful lot of racism there. I mean, think about it. India has a caste system. I mean, if you talk about racism, I mean, something like 380 million people in India, that's more than the population of the United States, are considered lower caste non-people in India. You want to talk about racism there? That's a racist place, you know. So racism is all over the world. And I think when I came to America, I found there was actually less racism here than I'd ever seen in other places, at least in the places that I've lived. So I think that if we start thinking that we are going to solve the problems by calling people racist who aren't racist, we're actually going to start.